Hello, everybody. My name is Lorcan Brennan from the Men's Development Network, and I'm delighted to have a group of people with me here today who are going to tell me more about an initiative called On Feirm Ground 2. And I have with me Johanne, Nevin, I have Conor Hammersley, and I have Mbwika. And all of these people, one way or another, are part of the experience of what we're going to talk about, because they have played kind of certain roles in different aspects of this programme that has already on the island of Ireland reached over 1,500 agricultural professionals. Can I start by just saying, Conor, about yourself, because I want to tell a little bit about why you're here today. Because Conor Hammersley, originally, Conor, I met you as a Fulbright Irish student after your award with Teagasc, and you started out in relation to doing research around what became On Feirm Ground. I know you're very interested in the cultural context of Irish agriculture, and especially that whole conversation that you've had in writing and in many rooms in relation to masculinities. And you're very interested especially in informing interventions, which of course On Feirm Ground is. And then we have the country manager for the Donkey Sanctuary, which is Johanne Nevin. And Johanne, you have many roles, but your most important role, I suppose, has been around the strategic leadership within your own organisation and working and building capacity of your own team in transition into new and wonderful places in the work that you do. That is very, very challenging, as well as very, very much important work for all of us on the island of Ireland. And then Stephen, you're here as well, all the way from Kenya. You inherited On Feirm Ground 1 into On Feirm Ground 2, and you've been very much part of the leadership that has developed the programme and rolled it out across Ireland as well, with your great team of people who are facilitators, and you're here as well to talk about this initiative. So I'm going to start at the very beginning, because Conor, we can't talk about a programme or an experience of a programme unless we go back to the research and the reason why. Can you tell us, Conor, a little bit about On Feirm Ground 1, first of all, the why of it and where you came into the picture and what was it like?
Yeah, well, I think to start with it, I think the fundamental kind of building blocks of it was concerns around from people who are working with farmers, and those people bringing their concerns to authorities, saying that we're coming across farmers in distress with borderline mental health problems that they felt ill-equipped in their capacity to be able to engage with. And then I think conversations started to happen with agricultural authorities first, and they felt also ill-equipped with it. And then I believe that the gap was bridged then between Department of Agriculture with the Department of Health, and then conscious of kind of the gendered or masculinities lens that is often encompasses with the agricultural community, that brought it into the National Centre for Men's Health and onto Noel Richardson's lap. And then I think a team started to formulate together. And then a PhD program was set up that was going to be PhD research done on this. That's where I came into it. Then the vision was that we wanted to train up service providers, initially extension agents or agricultural advisors, who meet farmers on a regular basis to support them with skills to help farmers with their mental health, and be a link or bridge between the farmer and the mental and service providers at a local level. And so the very first part of it, I started my PhD on this program in September 2019. And the very first thing that me and Noel Richardson wanted to do was to go into the community, chat with farmers, other stakeholders as well within the agricultural community, about just an exploratory piece about what was going on there, what were the biggest challenges to accessing health services, what were the biggest stressors that farmers faced, to really equip the training program as robustly as possible, to use that evidence that we use, as we would say, like in research focus groups and interviews with farmers. Focus groups are basically, farmers sitting around together. We would have a topic guide and we would discuss various aspects surrounding mental health and stress within farming, and their experience with access and health services, or their barriers that they experience to accessing health services. And we use that evidence then to inform the development of the On Feirm Ground training program that would be rolled out for agricultural advisors initially. I'll leave it there for the time being, Arkin, but that's the broad backdrop of it.
Really good analysis. Just to stay with you for one moment before I go on, I want to talk to Stephen as well for a minute. Would it be fair to say, in the context of the background and framing this conversation, that health and safety, health and well-being became recognised as having a key link, which was an important part of the research as well. So you could, for example, this programme is kind of making social history in the sense that a couple of departments together working for the first time, and that was significant. A safer farmer, a less stressed farmer is a safer farmer.
Exactly. Like if you had said to the Department of Agriculture 10 years ago that they'd have involvement with the Department of Health, they probably would have laughed at you. And likewise, if you said to the Department of Health that they would have involvement with the Department of Agriculture, they probably would have laughed at you too as well. So the real essence of On Feirm Ground is collaboration and bringing partners together, and that's the essence of public health, really, because it is, as we say, like an ecological thing that encompasses social, cultural, occupational, so many factors of life that we live in, and the essence of working with those is bringing partners together who operate in those different those different layers or those different levels, and it's really innovative in that sense, and yeah, the essence of On Feirm Ground is collaboration. I like the term you use about social history because it was created. I'm not sure the degree to which that governmental departments coming together like that before has happened.
So it's fabulous for that. Look, to Conor, your findings, and you gave us a really good map at the time in relation to developing a program that Stephen's going to talk about. So we could see what the key elements were that came through in relation to addressing and having conversations in relation to signposting and support. And Johanne's group, of course, are one of those 1,500 people who've been passed through the program in relation to that. But Stephen, if you were to say then, out of Conor's kind of framing of the programs is developed, and even after On Feirm Ground 1, we go on and you look at learnings and opportunities, develop additional resources. What's at the heart of it, Stephen, though, that you think On Feirm Ground makes it a really important program for engaging service providers and building capacity?
Thank you, Logan. I think at the heart of the success of On Feirm Ground, it's what Conor has mentioned, the collaboration. I think when you're looking at farmers, well-being, for me, I think it's too important to be, accomplished by just one organization or to be operated in a silo. So that level of collaborating with the different industry partners, different stakeholders, was very instrumental in terms of ensuring the success of the program. And then the other aspect that is very unique about this program as well is, the delivery model. The program ensures that it respects the farming culture, and it also recognizes that the people we are trying to reach, the people we are trying to equip, are not health professionals, and it doesn't in any way try to convert them into health experts. So it's more of building capacity amongst the agricultural professionals so that they are able to be health connectors, connect the agricultural, the farmer to the relevant support services. And one of the things about also the program that makes it also a success is how it is delivered. It is highly experiential. People come into the room thinking, it's overly, academic, a lecture, but then when they get into the room, and then there is a lot of peer-led learning, a lot of group discussions, and everyone, by the end of the day finds their voice in the room, and then there is a lot of, learning in that kind of space.
Very good. And Johanne, when listen to Stephen there, does it do what it says on the tin? Because you must get 1,000 flyers a year through your door around capacity building and training and opportunities. You saw this and you said, we're going to look into that. Why so? Because, as I say, what drew you to it?
Well, I suppose in the charity sector we have limited budget for all this stuff, so we have to do that cross-sector collaboration. And I'm echoing what both the guys are saying there. The partnerships extend our impact beyond our capacity. So for me, I knew that by getting as many staff trained up on this, it would really have that maximum outreach. Just twofold: a lot of our staff are farming themselves or are living in rural areas and come into contact with farmers throughout the course of our duties. But the biggest learning that I got from this as I went through the program myself was the impact that this program also has on animal welfare, because as I'm learning, human well-being is intrinsically linked to animal welfare. So if we're signposting and recognizing the signs and helping people that are looking after animals, we're directly impacting animal welfare as well. So it's not just the well-being side of things, drew me to it. Because as you know, we'll talk more, I'm sure, later about what we learned in the program, but that idea of just recognizing the health and safety, when a place is in disrepair, is there something going on with the mental health, and even the state that the animals or their surroundings are in. So that's why I've kind of drawn on that idea that while our mission is to improve the lives of donkeys, this kind of does have a direct impact on animal welfare as well as the well-being side. And of course, then from my own perspective, I am really interested in men's mental health, especially because the demographic that we have with us are the demographic that tend not to discuss their mental health. So any awareness building that we can do and support that we can give them is fantastic. And I like the fact that this was really practical. We got our maintenance guys, some farmers, into the room that had never sat in a group setting discussing mental health before. And because of the way it's delivered, with your videos and all that, you could see them kind of sitting up and engaging because it applied to them. They could relate to it, basically, So it was the practical, relatable kind of delivery methods that really appealed to me, but also the impact that it would have on both our employees and the general animal welfare in Ireland as a result. Yeah.
Okay. What Johanne is saying kind of reminds me, I suppose, a really core part of your research has been always around, masculinities and the different types of masculinities and the expressions of it. And you're really interested in, I suppose, the parts of it that act as a barrier to us finding intervention, support, community connection, right? At the heart of the training for On Feirm Ground, we came up with EARS: engage, acknowledge, reassure, and signposting. It's a tool for, as Johanne would say, it normalizes a conversation, because anyone can go and engage, acknowledge, reassure, and then you signpost. How important, when you're doing your research, and you're out and you're sitting in the focus groups, how important is it that, you can move from academia into that kind of a space where Johanne is illustrating so well? You bring it to Leitrim, you bring it to Roscommon. This works. How important is it to be able to make those links? Because there's certain types of masculinities do lock us out,
Yeah, it's interesting. Because when in focus groups, you're always looking for when you sit in with people and you want to get to the heart of a topic or something like that, you're always looking for modes of connection. It's like it's like trying to connect the frequency of a radio station or something like that. You're seeing the points at which you can lock into some topic with them, and as Johanne said, it's not easy to get for anybody, I think, to go into the kind of more intimate nature of someone's life about health seeking and stuff like that, particularly if peers are around in that. So you're looking for more oblique ways to come about this, and often, people would draw on, in relation to like Johanne's work about animal health and stuff like that, and their own health is integral to that, because farmers often forget that they are the most important cog of the wheel in relation to farm development, animal health, farm profitability, all those kind of things, and to bring it back around to those kind of aspects of it is really helpful. And then I'll also just say, and hitting on one of Johanne's points too as well, in relation to even with advisors themselves who are trained up in this, I don't think you could underestimate the role of like the social marketing kind of aspect that we had in those videos we developed. So basically, for people that maybe aren't or haven't been in one of the training sessions, my qualitative work got all digitalized into videos. So the actual like spoken word in the data we collected was digitalized into small short videos with actors, and it just normalized and realized everything. And that was super effective. Like I don't think you can underestimate, in relation to masculinity and all these things, the role of like social marketing to normalize and to kind of break down or even tackle norms that are debilitating to men's health and that. Because there's a lot of, as we know, a lot of media influences that drive it in the other direction. And I think social marketing and stuff like that is very important at a more micro level in relation to masculinity.
Very powerful.
That makes those videos all the more fascinating now, to know that they were actually real verbatim stuff that you collected through this study. Yeah. So like the Men's Development Network were brilliant at all that, and got actors in too as well. And it wasn't just a script that we would have wrote ourselves. It was literally taken verbatim from data that I collected from farmers themselves, and like whatever, like digitalized or
yeah, and put on screen. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I'm really conscious of time even already, because this is only a short call out today. Johanne, you said it a few moments ago, based on what Conor has said, based on your own experience of your team coming through the programme, on a year's learning and being in the space, what is it stays with you, and what do you think when you think about your team especially? What are the selling points? Why would you say to anybody, like, on Feirm Ground is the place to go? Like, what's your pitch for it in your own experience of being part of it?
I just say it before, it's the real practical stuff. Like, one of the things that resonated with a lot of our staff was the body language aspect. So, you know, when you're standing side by side with someone at the gate looking out into the field, we were taught about that the farmer might open up because that's their natural habitat, you know. And I've heard some of our farm staff or wives of farmers at home that are employed by us just saying that really stood out to them, and that has led on to them opening up conversations, for example, with their family or with neighbours in that regard, and signposting them to mental health support. So it was so simple in its delivery, but it resonated with me because, and as well, another thing that stood out to me was going back to what you were saying, Conor, about departments not working together. We met some of the department vets throughout this program. We have our own vets internally, and they need to work really close together to recognise the different signs in donkey welfare out in the communities. And again, so striking up those partnerships was a good way of those guys getting connected and you know, opening up that bridge a little. So what really resonated with me was the collaboration between, you know, different departments, the practical tools that we learned and that I now hear in our staff take away and apply themselves. And I really think as well, the fact that we've had 80 staff, imagine the impact, like the outreach that's going to, the ripple effect, as is the name of the call. So yeah, that's why I would promote it, because when you hear, as I said, I don't like to refer to them as the older male demographic, but that's what they are, okay? All of a sudden being a little bit more comfortable in knowing what to signpost or in just having that initial conversation, to me, that's, you know, that's kind of what resonates from all this. Yeah.
Very good. Stephen, I'm really conscious of say the time on us. Not all farmers are men. I know this is Men's Health Week, but you know, Conor's findings as well looked at Ireland and looked at the agricultural sector. And it's true to say, I suppose, Conor, first of all, that, you know, a lot of the findings came back were quite alarming, perhaps, or more alarming in relation to men. And so there was a kind of a focus. But there's the masculinities bit, I suppose, that is much broader than what we think of as just in manhood, that influences and impacts on the agricultural culture, for want of a better way of saying it. How would you explain that to us, Conor, very briefly before we come back to Stephen for a call out?
Yeah, like masculinity is a very nuanced thing, and it changes and shifts depending on demographics and society. So the masculinity of somebody living in Dublin, south side of Dublin, would be very different from the masculinity living in, you know, rural Longford or somewhere like that. And one of the things that my research picked up on in relation to gender and for females is that they felt that they often, who were farmers, they felt that they often had to act in a more masculine way to feel accepted within the farming community, to not go to the doctor, to not seek healthcare, to not do leisure pursuits and stuff like that, which was really interesting aspect. So it's a wide, when you talk about masculinity, definitely it operates at a micro level, but it also operates what we say as a meso level, so like at a community level. You know what I mean? And that the culture of masculinity operates for people, independent of gender, to live up to patriarchal norms. And that's the more challenging and complex aspect of it. And then there's also a wider macro level that an imposition of masculinity. So how could you, so let's say like the fuel protest recently in Ireland, are they detached, you know, when you take masculinity from a socio-political sense, and the and the structural environment that many farmers are operating in, what type of masculinity does that produce? If farmers are finding it difficult to make ends meet on a weekly or monthly basis, or their farm check at the end of a week or a month is not what they expect it to be, you know, it adds a political dimension to masculinity, you know, and a structural dimension to masculinity. And those are the various aspects that we need to be looking at it at, as opposed to disproportionately putting the emphasis on the individual.
Yeah.
And we need to look at the wider kind of ecological aspects of it that take in community and also macro political aspects of it. Anyway, sorry, that was a long-winded answer to your question, but it's just a bit more, just to make the point that it's a bit more nuanced, and the more nuanced and we can look at it, the more intersectionally we can look at it, the more we can kind of get to grips with the problem. Sorry, Stephen, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, no, I was going to say to Stephen, because we're running on time there as well, just in relation to that, Steve, you know, you normalise this with the team of trainers you have around the country, and what Conor has said there, we explore that and explore what we mean by that, the masculinities that act as a barrier to finding that support and help. What is your own call out, Stephen? You've been part of it and you're part of planning for the future. What would you be saying to anyone who might look in on this and see, like, you know, come along and be with us, this is what you will learn, this is why you should come?
Thanks. Yeah, maybe just a bit about that aspect on the masculinity, because one of the things that's usually very important, especially for us in the room, is to have a deep dive on that and paint a picture of where farmers, are coming from, so that then that lays a picture on our agricultural professionals to allow them now to know, how do I, use a language that is more relatable, that is respecting where this farmer is coming from, but at the same time supporting them, in a way that then, whatever I tell them will not, backfire, will not be rejected by them. In terms of where this program is going, currently we have trained over 1,500, agricultural professionals, and these are people who, interact with farmers in the course of their work. They could be interacting with farmers on the farm, over the phone, or in the office. So anyone with relative interaction with farmers in the course of their work, this program is designed for them. And it is not designed to also make them, become health, or, experts or counselors. It's more of a support to themselves, so that when they are out in the yard and are interacting with farmers, and a farmer opens up about the challenges that they are going through, then they have the awareness, they have the confidence, and they have the skills to be able to navigate those conversations and normalize the conversations, health and well-being. So when you are looking at, the numbers we've trained so far, the 1,500, these are people out there interacting with tens, hundreds of farmers. And then you can imagine now those people are more aware of the science, they're more attuned to the science, and they have the confidence to support farmers on their health and well-being. So for anyone who wants to get involved in the program, we normally have workshops across the country, and we advertise our programs on our website. It's called Engage Training, so we will have a link of it at the end of this. But how we do, the registrations, we have two pathways. So the first pathway is that the public calls that we have on our website. Sometimes we've realized that those, the public calls are not, suitable for all organizations. And so we normally have a second pathway that is customized workshops for organizations that suits them, on their day and the location. So if you are interested now to get involved as an organization, like the way Johanne did through the Donkey Sanctuary, then you can email us at health@mensnetwork.ie, and then we will take it from there and plan.
And look at folks, that's it. We'll have that on the end of the screen, because we're going to have to go in a few moments' time. Thank you so much for being with us today, folks. And do click on the link and you'll find out more about on Feirm Ground 2 and how you can come along and be with it. Johanne, Conor and Stephen, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for sharing your experience upon Feirm Ground.